Good afternoon, everyone. It is Sunday, March 2nd, and hopefully you're all doing well. First off, I want to say thank you so much for your patience. Through mid-February, I was traveling with my brother through central Mexico for 2 weeks, and that's where actually I had my 30th birthday. I did want to make a lot more videos during that time, but unfortunately, I was actually quite sick for most of the trip, as well as it was quite a busy trip as well, so I had very limited downtime. So, in saying that, thank you so much for your patience. Today, I wanted to talk about being careful working away your 20s. Now, in a lot of my previous videos, I've talked about my concept of overclocking. And if you're new here, what that is essentially it's working your main job, but also working a second full-time job or a second part-time job to get some sort of benefits. So this could be, maybe you're paying off debt, maybe you're building up an emergency fund, maybe you're putting this towards your investing. So you're using this money for a specific goal. And now, while that can be really important, it's not meant to be a long term plan. It's extremely tiring, and you run the risk of burning out and potentially risking your main job. So, if you don't exactly need the money through overclocking, you should really be prioritizing some fun in your life. Your 20s is, you have a lot of energy, you have a lot of excitement, you're still trying out new things for yourself and experimenting with your own life. Now, let me showcase this with an example from my own life. When I was 23, I was working as a film set security guard. If you don't know, Vancouver, BC, outside of Hollywood, is one of the top cities in North America for film production. It's usually Hollywood, Atlanta, Georgia, or Vancouver, and then that other city as the third spot for the most amount of film sets in North America. So, in this job, it's kind of not like a conventional job. What you would do is you would book in when you're available for shifts. And if you didn't want to take any more shifts, you would book out, and then the dispatchers knew not to call you. Um, I initially, at this age, had a plan to go to Thailand in the fall of 2018. However, when that time came around, when it time to kind of start looking at flights and hostels and things like this, I was so busy in the film set, I didn't want to take the time off. I had already saved up the money for the trip. I had already put aside money for investing and other things. And I was living at home at the time, so I didn't really have to worry about food or rent expenses. But because it was so busy on the film set, I felt guilty about taking time off. Um, in addition, in the film industry, you don't get any vacation pay or kind of like paid time off. So it's really an opportunity. It's like a true opportunity cost. Um, if you go away for a week, that's a week's worth of wages you're going to lose out on. Another problem with the film industry, it's very cyclical. So there'd be good and bad years, but it's also very seasonal at the same time. There's peak months and low months. So at that time, October, November 2018, it was very busy and it had been slow for a long time before that. So I felt guilty about taking time off. Although I really wanted to take 3, 4 weeks off to go backpacking around the country of Thailand, I was like, oh man, I can't lose out on making thousands of dollars or potentially tens of thousands in that time period. So it was a huge opportunity cost. Now, while many people could say, oh, Mike, you're building towards, a career in that industry, and how that industry works is essentially the more shifts you take, the higher your seniority because it's a union-based job. You're working towards your union membership, et cetera, et cetera. Um, I knew this wasn't like a long-term plan for me to stay in this industry, and I knew I was going to make the school. But I said, you know what? Oh, let me push it to 2019. I'll go then. Lo and behold, when I thought would be a slow 2019 was not. It was a very busy year, and pretty much I didn't have that time to go back to Thailand for the 3, 4 weeks off because at the end of 2019 I went back to school and I was doing that full time. And then obviously COVID hit 2020, so all travel was shut down. So why do I tell this story? I tell this story because I had an opportunity to leave, but I prioritized making money over my own fun when I didn't actually need the money. Again, I'm not really crying over the lost opportunity of not going. I can always go again in my 30s, and that is one of my goals for my 30s, is to travel more and to enjoy my life more. But again, it would have been fun to have that, being in your young 20s, going to the hostels and the parties. Because now, if I go to Thailand, I'm going to have different desires and different experiences, right? So that's one thing to watch out for. Shortly after, I went on a family vacation to Portugal, and Because I was in the film industry, I actually took some extra time off and went across Spain as well for 5 weeks. So that 5 week vacation really opened my eyes to what type of travel is out there and how to explore the world. And I just realized, oh, I wish I could have done the same thing with Thailand now that I look back at it. And, I missed that opportunity. Like those travel opportunities, especially in your 20s, like take them. If you have the opportunity, if maybe, you're going somewhere with work for a work conference, see if you can chain it with a few extra days off or a weekend and spend some extra time nearby if you're going to a city you like. Now, this can be replicated on a smaller scale as well. Maybe you don't have the budget to go for a big international trip. Maybe it's more like going to see concerts. Again, when I was in that film industry, such crazy hours, 12 hours with a normal shift time. But there were times where, a favorite musician was in town, but I would say, oh no, sorry, I'm working the night shift that day. I can't see them. Or maybe there's another time where my favorite DJ was in town and he was playing a show. I bought a ticket. I thought I was going to be off at 7 p.m. and the call times kept getting pushed back. Lo and behold, I didn't get off until about midnight, and by that time the show was already over. Very sad. I got to miss my DJ. But again, not at the end of the world, but still a bit sad. And I still think about those kind of lost memories, right? And as you kind of go through your 20s, you're going to notice this more and more, like the conflict between making money and kind of developing yourself. And I would say the danger of always making money is that while, yes, it's good for your bank account and your finance side, you're not really developing yourself unless you challenges your creativity. You're not really developing yourself. So kind of watch out for that. Like once you make enough money and you have the ability to, take that art class or do, go on that trip or take that dance class or what have you, go for it and don't look back. So definitely look out for that. Now, thinking about some of my hobbies, again, going back to, working in the film industry and then going to school, I didn't really set up my life to accept hobbies. And there was a lot of things I wanted to do that I didn't do until my late 20s when I was a bit more settled. This includes learning how to ride a motorcycle. There's a little bit of a caveat to this one because motorcycles are expensive. Your course is $1,000. A full set of gear can be anywhere from $500 to $1,000 for a starter set. Motorbikes can be a few grand. So there's a bit of a financial burden there when I was in my young 20s. But by my mid 20s, I could have afforded it. But again, I delayed it because I'm like, no, that's a waste of money. Don't develop myself. Let's put that in investing instead, or go to the bar or something like that. Right? It's a bit cheaper in terms of entertainment. Same thing goes for salsa classes and like other types of Latin dancing. I knew it looked really beautiful. I knew I wanted to do it, but again, yeah, I don't know. I think my lack of having a stable schedule said, oh no, you don't have time to commit to this type of endeavor. And when I did have time, at least when I was like 26, 27, I realized my life was actually quite boring. Like it was very stable and nothing wrong with stability, but I'd been so focused on making money and then going to school and then working part time while in school that I kind of didn't really develop myself well. So, yeah. In conclusion, this video is for anyone in their 20s that's thinking about traveling or starting that new hobby, but is hesitant to because they either don't want to spend the money or they're overclocking and they just want to keep that cash flow coming in. While it's great to be gazelle intense, to quote Dave Ramsey, if you don't 100% need the money and everything else is already taken care of in your life, it's okay to enjoy your life. It's okay to pursue those hobbies or go on that trip and take that time off. That's why we have those benefits in the first place. So, yeah, anyways, have a great day and I look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks so much and see you. Bye bye.